In this lesson, we're going to look at changing the subject of a formula where there's brackets involved. Firstly here, we're going to look at when the subject is inside the bracket, which can confuse things a wee bit. So my advice, when you see the subject inside the bracket, you can see here that we've got m equals p bracket x minus k, x is inside, x is the subject, times the bracket out, because when you times the bracket out, you get access to the subject, and that's what you're looking for. Remember, the object of this is a bit of rearranging to try and get the subject on the left hand side and everything else on the right hand side. And you have to use undoing functions to do this. So let's multiply it. So we're going to get px minus pk. Next, there's various things you could do. I'm just going to switch sides completely. So left hand side becomes right hand side becomes left hand side. Because I want the subject on the left hand side, and that's a good way of doing it in this case. We don't really want this takeaway pk there, so do the opposite of takeaway pk, which is to add it. Remember, you can add more than one term to the other side if they're joined like that with a multiply. And then we need to finish off by just getting x on its own. X has been multiplied, so I want to divide. And I'm finished. So let's look at some more examples of that particular idea. So e is in the bracket, you can see here again. E is the subject. First of all, multiply the bracket out. Remember to multiply both things by the f, fe and fh. Again, what I would do here is switch the sides. Left hand side becomes right hand side becomes left hand side. Don't really want the plus fh, so take it away. And then to finish off, I don't want to multiply by f here, so I divide the whole of the other side by f. Now, once you finish this lesson, I'd go back and try these again, like pause the video and try them again, so that you practice these ones, because there's not too many of these in the book. I would try and practice these in the video lesson. Right, this is an interesting one because inside we've got the c, but we've got a negative in front, so I'll show you how to deal with that. So again, multiply the bracket out first. I've moved over here because I've run out of space, but you should really be lining up the equal signs. So BD minus BC. Right, because the subject's a takeaway and I want it to go to the other side and I want the subject to have a plus in front of it, just add all of this to the other side like that. So just take that bit, add it to the other side. We did talk about that in earlier lessons. If you want to go back and check them, that's fine. Now the subject's on the correct side and it's in a positive. I don't really want the plus a here, so I'm going to do the opposite of that, which is take it away. And then to finish off, to get c, I want to divide by the b and just leave it like that. Okay, I'm going to look at another few cases here that can confuse people with the kind of ruling of multiply out the bracket. But what we can see in this case here is the subject is outside the bracket and it's been multiplied by e plus h. I would not advise you to times the bracket out in this case. The reason for that is because you're going to create two f's, fe and fh, and that creates its own problems. What I would do, because f's been multiplied by all of that, just divide by all of that and it leaves f on its own. So you just take your g and divide it by that. You can keep the brackets in or out, it doesn't really matter, but that's what I would do. Well, this one here, it's the same idea except it's the wrong way around, so I'm just going to put it that way around so that the subject's over here, and then just divide by the m plus n. So be careful, if the subject's outside the brackets, this is an easy fix. Okay, to finish the lesson, we're going to look at some harder examples actually of this idea. You can't see the brackets, but you'll see them in a minute. So we're trying to rearrange this, which looks quite complex. Now I'm going to use a technique I did in a previous lesson, which was called cross multiplying, because I've got the fractions, two fractions either side. The subject's a, so this cross multiply technique allows us to multiply up with the 5 here and multiply up with the d here. Now, when you multiply up with the 5, you've got to times both things by 5. So I'm just going to put that in a bracket. That's where the brackets come in. And then times this up, and you're going to get bd squared, because d times d is multiplying d by itself, which is squaring. Now, be careful, that's just d squared. The b's not been squared here, it's just the d. Again, I would multiply out the brackets here. And if you want to do that all at the same time, you could have done that. You could have said, well, that's 5a plus 5b. That would be absolutely fine to do that. The subject's a, so I don't really want this plus 5b. I want to take it away. And then to finish off, to get a on its own, divide it all by 5. Right, let's look at some examples of them to finish the lesson off. So again, same process to start, cross multiply. So times up by the 3, put it in a bracket, or just put 3a plus 3b, that would be okay. And times up by the d, you can put dc or cd, that doesn't really matter either. Times out the bracket, 3a plus 3b equals dc. You don't really want the plus 3b there, so you do the opposite of plus 3b, which is to take it away from the other side. And then to finish off, divide it by the 3. So just put a big line, a 3 underneath. Let's go through this one. Same idea, start off by cross multiplying. So this bit times 2, and then we've got tuv, t times u times v. And the same technique is going to happen here. Times through the bracket, this time we're looking for the s as the subject. I don't really want the plus r, I know it's at the front, sorry, the plus 2r. Don't really want that there, so I need to take it away. So take away the 2r. And to finish off, to get s on its own, just divide it by 2. Okay, a couple of wee tricky ones here, and the reason they're tricky, well, we can have a look. Okay, the fact is there's a takeaway in front of them, so we'll finish off with that to finish the lesson. The start of the lesson is very similar. You cross multiply, and you would do that with both of them. Now I'm going to use slightly different techniques to do the same thing. I'm going to show you 2 ways to handle this, and you can pick which way you want to use. So times up by the 2, put it in a bracket, times up by the r, and the s. Same idea over here, times up by the 6, times by the z. Right, let's times out the brackets. So we've got 2p minus 2q equals rs. We'll do the same over here. 6x minus 6y equals zwv. Right, at this point, because I've got a negative subject here, and I want to make it a positive, you always want to make your subject positive, I'm going to add the 2q to the other side. I'm not going to do that over here, I'll show you a different technique for that one. But let's focus on this one first. Now my subject was q, I'll just double check that, yeah, subject was q. Now I want all of this on the other side now, so I just want to just switch sides completely. So we'll go rs plus 2q equals 2p, just to get the subject on the correct side, the left hand side. Now I've got a plus rs, which I don't want. I want to take it away. And then to finish off, just divide it all by 2, and you're there. Now you could do exactly the same over here, but I'm going to show you another way of doing it. You could times everything by -1 if you want. Times that by -1, times that by -1, and times that by -1. And what that's done is made the subject positive. You could then add the 6x to the other side, because we don't really want that there. So I've just put it at the front. You could have negative zwv plus 6x, but it's nicer that way. And then to finish it off, divide by the 6, sorry. So there's 2 techniques. One was a bit more rearranging, add the 2q, switch sides and so on. This was timesing through by -1. You can pick whichever way you want to do. Now I would advise you to go back and try those again. Start the video again, pause it, try them again, see if you can do them before starting any exercise in the book or any questions in the book. These are quite hard questions, by the way, so just be careful with them.